But these last 2 or 3 points, these are actually like the game changers. So I'm personally really excited to hear these as well.
So thank you, PK. Yeah, so common debt reducer loans is something to look at. The other one is I can't give advice around self-managed super funds, but talk to your financial planner or your accountant about using your super to try and get you that next property. Your accountant or financial planner will put a plan together and say, yeah, let's get some of your super to go into property or into shares or to gold or whatever it may be. Okay, so everyone keeps forgetting, there is this super there. All right. So just quickly, you can go up to 80% of the value of the property. Interest rates will be higher at the time of recording, around 4.5%. So your self-managed super fund needs to put up 20% at least plus costs. But what an amazing way to get another property, an incredibly tax-efficient strategy for you in retirement as well. So that's another one.
100%.
The other one too is I've got a lender who really exciting. I couldn't believe it. Great story. The state manager of this lender was very humble. Came into my office with her business development manager talking about why I should send all my clients to them. And being a broker that focuses on investment property, I said, tell me investment property solutions. That's what my clients want to know about.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't believe it, but they were saying if your portfolio is looking like it's positively geared, okay, and you're struggling, what they said to me was, we will still need to have a look at pay slips, but that becomes secondary. So if your portfolio of properties is generating, I don't know, $100,000 a year, okay, in income that's coming in, and only $60,000 a year is going out,
yeah,
then they see you as a professional property investor. And so long as your portfolio is paying for itself, so long as you keep buying properties that are neutrally geared at least, or positively geared ideally, then whilst they will still ask for your PAYG's pay slips and tax assessments and all that sort of stuff, that's secondary. Okay. So there's this wonderful environment at the moment where if you've got a positive cash flow property portfolio and you're struggling, then this lender wants to talk to you. Okay. Now the interest rate won't be that cheap. It'll be 3.5% at the time of recording.
Yeah.
Okay. But as you become more sophisticated, it's not about the rate. It's about getting the next acquisition that in 3 to 5 years time, you taught me, is going to be 150 grand more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's just from the top of my head, mate.
No, I mean, but that's phenomenal. I don't want that to just kind of, be kind of like a whimsical statement. I want everyone to connect with that. So what you're saying, John, and I'm putting words in your mouth here for a second, is this one lender, maybe there's others, I don't know. At least for now, there's this one lender that if you buy a positive cash flow property and it's giving you net income, net of all costs, everything, maintenance, everything like that, they are willing to loan you more money to buy another positive cash flow property. Yes, interest rates are not going to be in the 2s, they're going to be in the 3s, which you can still buy positive cash flow property right now, even despite that interest rate. And that way, it's almost like, I mean, I have not been investing for like 20, 30 years like you, but, 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago to some degree, you could buy positive cash flow property and you could take that to the moon. That's why we have these books on 0 to 200 properties in 10 years. And not that that's what you need to do, but, those principles which were kind of thought of as archaic, or that's like the good old days of property investing. Are you really telling us, John, that this lender is willing to bring those good days back?
Yeah, I mean, they're always there though. But their caveat, this particular lender, they're saying that it needs maximum LVR at 80%. So, if you've done well because you've done PK's course and your LVR is now at 50%, hey, it's there. It's definitely there.
Right.
And it's funny because I fell off my chair when they told me this.
Yeah.
I said it 3 times back to them. They went, yep, I know. And the next day I emailed them. I said, I want it in writing.
Got to get that in writing.
I called them again last week.
I mean, that's phenomenal, right? So like if someone has, let's say 80K in the bank account, that is enough to buy a 350, maybe 400K property on an 80% LVR, 20% deposit. Not only is the positive cash flow going to be higher because you put in 20% deposit, but because it's positive cash flow, that's going to allow you to get the next property, and then you basically rinse and repeat. Now, of course, you need the growth. So you can't just buy in super regional areas where the data doesn't stack up, because without the growth, you're not going to get the equity for the next one. But so long as you can have that equity, as so long as it's positive cash flow, you can build out a large property portfolio, and you don't need an income of what, $400,000, $300,000. People in there, what would you say? This is kind of a loaded question, John, and I know there's shades of gray, but if someone wants to build, let's say, a $2 million portfolio, talking gross,
Yeah.
what is the kind of household income that they need to achieve that? I know it's a difficult question.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously comes down to lifestyle expenses of that person, but you'd be surprised the average person can do it. All right. I'm assuming the average person doesn't have the big showy car leases or, the big credit card limits and things like that. But, a teacher and a nurse, I mean, two normal incomes, if that's the right word, $80,000 each, you'd be surprised. And the problem is we all get fixated that we need to buy in Sydney for $1 million where the yield's 3%.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the case. And unfortunately, we just get bombarded with general media that says you can't do it. It's just that everyone starts off with, I've got to buy in the suburb I live in, which in Sydney or Melbourne and pockets of Brisbane now, it's not that cheap.